So we've been talking about several tools for regulating the nervous system. Um, I hope the recording have been ready and available. If any issues accessing the recording, let me know. And I want to make a note about the recordings. Even if you don't watch the previous recording before the next session, do not worry. Do not push. Do not force. Let it come when is the right time to watch. And the right time to watch is when you just suddenly just pick up the phone, put in the recording, listen, and it happens, right? That type of moment. It's like an impulse to just go, and you didn't even think about it, and then you went to the video. Because the videos are individual in itself. And you don't even have to watch in the series, like following 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You just need to watch as you need. You might want to go back to all the videos and listen again. And if you do, you will notice that you pick up different things. Going back on the other videos, if you find yourself there, yeah, like you're not forcing, you might find that you pick up different information. So we don't pick up everything all at once because we only pick up what we are really working with at that time. So it's allow it to flow, allow it to happen to you in a way, in a nice way. Okay. So we this class we're going to talk about awareness. What is awareness? Because without awareness, we cannot make the change. It's even difficult to put the tools to practice. Perhaps awareness could have been the first session, but here we are, awareness. Okay. And one of the cards that came up earlier, I picked a few cards, is perception. So that came up as well. Yeah. And it's that moment, it's that split second moment that you realize something, that something comes to you, that something becomes clear. It's not the confusing moment. It's not the moment that you're working in your mind all the time and then you're trying to figure it out what the solution is and you get the solution. But it's the moment that you get that solution, right? It's not the pre-moment of major confusing thoughts. Nothing to do with that. So perception and awareness is pretty much the same thing. Awareness, I find it being a bit deeper because awareness is where it's much easier to have self-awareness than self-perception. Does that make sense? I think awareness is something that happens within us. Perception is what we see from the outside of us. Okay, that's how I see it. And when we have the awareness that our body is rising in the nervous system, is rising in anxiety, we have that chance to do something about it. We have a moment of choice. But what has been happening is, at some point in life, I'm going to use anxiety as a general feeling, sensation, okay? Could be fear, could be feeling of rejection, could be a feeling of loss, could be a feeling of anything, could be any emotion. But let's just look at anxiety because is the one that is more generic that everyone can resonate with. So when we felt the anxiety, perhaps the very first few times, right? We felt it, we didn't like it, and we blocked it. So after a few times of feeling that feeling, we eventually learn to block it. We eventually create a coping mechanism to say, right, I'm not feeling that again, therefore I'm going to suppress it, I'm going to block it, I'm going to stop it. So sometimes people can go through situations not feeling anxiety, but they'll create laughter about it, right? Or they'll create tears about it, not on purpose, not consciously, but subconsciously, because we learn to suppress, but something else has to come out. It has to be expressed. And when we talk about the body, the somatic, the soma is body, everything moves through the body. Everything, every emotion, every thought moves through the fascia, through the body. Babies are somatic beings. Yeah, they are somatic beings. They feel everything through their body and they express either laughing or crying, and that's it. There's no other expression in between the laughing and the crying in a baby. There's no doubt. There's no confusion, is it? You're not going to have a baby looking at you a bit confused, are you? It just doesn't happen. So the babies are black and white, really, because they feel the emotions and they know it's either happy or not very good. Yeah. We eventually learn all the emotions in between, like that spectrum that I shared in a group, where you have all the spectrum of anger, frustration, and all the different emotions all the way to happiness. Yeah. As we grow, we evolve through these emotions. So when we feel everything through the body and we suppress, the body will then bring other symptoms. It could be IBS, bowel issues, it could be headaches, it could be even pneumonia, it could even manifest in a fractured bone through an accident. Yeah. It could manifest in many different ways. It needs to come out. The emotion needs to come out. So it can come out in sickness, illness, and different ailments. Even a cold can be an expression of an emotion that is being stirred up and we suppressed enough. But the emotion doesn't stay there all the time very active. It will go down and it disappears. And then something on the external happen that kind of reminds us that this could trigger an emotion, and then it starts to stir. And that's the anxiety. Yeah. But we don't feel the anxiety right at the beginning of the start because we are suppressing so much. We only feel the anxiety after it builds up and then it bursts through the skin, through the body. And that's when we get what we call sometimes a panic attack or an anxiety moment or an overwhelm. Yeah, overwhelm of many emotions coming up. So by breathing and connecting with yourself, you are creating this awareness of when the emotion comes as a sensation in the body from the very beginning, when it's still nice and small and little in the body. But for now, we blocked it so much that we don't feel any of that because we're too busy blocking, we're too busy keeping busy. And then we only feel it when it's already at its peak. So the breath is here to bring us that awareness. Would you like to be able to regulate a nervous system that reached the peak of overwhelm, or would you like to regulate a nervous system that just picked up the beginning of that emotion? And that's where awareness brings us to be able to pick up here. Triggers, instead of trigger and reaction and respond, can we pick up before the trigger? And it could be split seconds, right? But we can still, it's like almost like stretching time. And all of a sudden you have all this time in your mind. I'm going to trigger. I can feel it. What should I do? What's the best response? What can I say? And then you have that choice. But we have to work backwards. Yeah. So one day you might trigger, not even know you're triggering. So that's the end. So we're triggering all the time. We have no idea. And then something highlights to you that you're triggering. And then eventually you realize that you triggered, but you had no way of stopping the response. But then you're doing your practice here. You're doing your practice. And then another day you have another trigger. And then you realize you just triggered and you're able to just stop the response. But it doesn't mean it's the best outcome, but you stop the response. And then you're practicing here. Another day, you just before the trigger, you notice. And then you might still have a choice to not trigger, but you trigger anyway. But then you create a different response from that same trigger. And that gives you another information, another clarity. Yeah. So it gives you choices, a lot of choices of how we can express ourselves in situations. And if you feel that you are going through a similar trigger all the time, being triggered by someone, being triggered by a situation, and you respond in the same way, and you already notice that you are in that loop, you're already aware. And that's a beautiful place to be. Yeah. So that awareness, that's why I think awareness is something that comes from within. Perception is something that we perceive what's on the outside. Okay. And even when you're going through a trigger, you might be going through a trigger, the same trigger all the time. Yeah. But then one day you manage to respond in a different way. Do you know how much information and clarity you get from responding differently to a trigger? Not just for you, but for the person or the situation? It's immense. The information is immense. And this is another beautiful place to be. Can I then respond differently? It doesn't have to be perfect or right or correct. There's no right or wrong. It's about, can I respond differently? I have a saying to myself and in my book that I always mention, what can you do different in a similar situation? What can you do different always in a similar situation? Yeah. This year, I did a little wish to myself that I will be doing things differently. And I started with a couple of things. How do I put the dishes in the dishwasher? Can I do it different? Okay. How do I organize the laundry? Can I do it different? Because I've been doing the laundry the same way for years. It's automatic. I want to break that automatic. So I'm doing a different way. I went into chaos first because I didn't know how to organize in a different way. And then eventually I started to get a different way of doing more organized. Yeah. And that process was incredible because this is what healing is all about. That's healing. Healing is about finding something that is absolutely choreographed automatically that you do. Finding a point in that factory line, because it's a factory line, isn't it? And we do things like the laundry, the dishwasher, cleaning the house. It's like a factory line. We know exactly what to do. It's already here. Can you find a point in that factory line to change, tweak a little bit, do a different order, one before, one after, whatever, to then how it makes you feel? Because that will bring lots of emotions. Because at the end of the day, anything that we do as automatic is control. And triggers is all about control. All about control. How are we controlling ourselves, not to feel a certain way? How are we controlling others, not to trigger ourselves to feel a certain way? Maybe we are controlling others because it's easier for us. How many times do we get triggered with kids when we're cleaning, they want to help? We get triggered because we don't want them helping because it's easier for us to do it quicker. That's control. Yeah. So all these little moments are going to come up and you're going to be understanding, where am I controlling myself or the situation or the environment or the other person? So controlling the environment would look something like keeping everything tidy. So whoever is in the house doesn't get frustrated with how things are. Or letting the kids do the mess as much as possible so that you only clean once rather than throughout the day many times. That's environmentally control, yeah? You're letting things happen. It's good, it's bad, there's no good or bad, nothing to do with that. But it's just how much are we controlling? Because those controllings, when things change, That's what gives us anxiety. That's what gives us the emotions. Yeah. So being able to be aware of when these emotions are just starting to boil up a little bit before they're up here, that's what awareness is going to take you. So when you're up here, I remember exactly one day, a trigger that was the same trigger all the time. And all of a sudden, for some reason, it felt like I had 5 minutes to think just before the trigger. And it was actually a split second. It was literally that space. And then I reacted differently. And I was like, whoa, that's interesting. Yeah. Because I changed, the person changed, the situation changed. And he was like, oh, now I understand why I was stuck in that same result. Yeah. Because the reaction is the same. Triggers, if you think of triggers, think of a gun. You press goes. You press goes. There's no time. And it does the same thing all the time. So this is where awareness comes. And it breaks everything down, slows everything down. It gives you a chance to find clarity, to find a different option, to find a different way, to find a different feeling. Have a little treat for you guys. I'm gonna put this in the group because I would like everyone to try this week so that we have something to use for next week. If you only the 4 of us try, then we don't have enough, and I want to have a good laugh with this, okay? But I'll put in the group after. So the practice for awareness, in fact, I have 2. One for you and one if you have kids, one for you to do with kids. Okay. Now, the one for you is you're going to use a towel every time you have a shower and you're going to dry yourself. You're going to think of how you are drying yourself. Okay. This is the most automatic thing we do since the age that we start drying ourselves after a shower. Okay. And I want you to write down, if there's no right or wrong, just write down the perception you have of what you're doing, the awareness that you have in your body of what you're doing, and anything else that comes up. So every day, make a little note of what you noticed in a little notepad, and then we're going to bring that next week. And then we're going to work on that next week. Okay, so that's I don't like homeworks, but this is just a fun game for us to do. The other fun game is with kids. Okay. So there's a game that already exists. It's called Cheese on Wheels. And every time you see a yellow car when you're driving with kids, they're allowed to tap you and say yellow car. But only the person that sees it first taps. And they get a point. Simple as that. Okay. Do you think there are many yellow cars on the road in England? All right. Tell me next week how many yellow cars you see. Okay. Now, what that game is going to give you, right? So many understanding of where you are in space, present or not. Because when you get that tap and somebody shouts yellow car and you're not here, you're gonna know. Okay. Also, you're gonna question, how come my kids see yellow cars more than me? I'm the driver. I should be spotting them much sooner. And that's a sign that we are somewhat on the automatic. We're not present. Every time they tap you, if you don't get to tap them first, every time they tap you, yeah, give yourself 6 breaths into the base of your belly and out, and stay present for that 6 breath. What's going to happen as well is you're going to realize that you can see a lot more yellow cars than you ever thought possible. And why is that? Because you are bringing your awareness to it. You are coming out of where you've been to where you are. And then basically, it's that law of attraction. You're looking for it, you're going to get it. Okay? So the law of attraction teaches us that what we focus in our mind is what comes through. If we're going to focus on the news right now, we're going to spend the day with that in our minds. We're going to think about it on and off. If we focus on the holiday, can't wait for it to come. We think about it all the time, but we also think about the packing, the passport, everything to get ready for it. And then it comes. So we attract that which we have in our minds. So it helps you understand what's going on in your mind, because a lot of the times we have thoughts, processes, like types of thoughts that we don't realize we have. Perhaps we have a thought of doubt every time that we need to make a decision. We don't even realize it's there, and that creates anxiety, and we don't know why. But you're able to then become aware. And awareness takes practice. Awareness takes time. But the beauty of putting your practice into understanding awareness in yourself is that once you work through the awareness, it's almost like you're conditioning yourself to become even more aware. So awareness comes much quicker, much faster. The triggers become more manageable, and that's where you can pick up before the trigger because you're picking up in your body. Yeah. So it's a combination of that breathing practice, of the awareness games that I've given here. There's different awareness games that you can play that really takes you from the automatic. Okay. How many times you drive home and you think, how did I get here? Yeah. That's automatic. But were you present? Probably not. Because if you're present, you wouldn't be asking, how did I get here? And what does it feel to be present? What does it feel like in your body to be present? And sometimes it's not comfortable. Sometimes it can be too much, and that's why we zone out. That's why we block sometimes. We go on automatic. But the more you breathe, the more you regulate, the more you shred this uncomfortable, and being present becomes easier. It actually becomes quite blissful, very blissful. So let's start with a nice meditation and breathing. Let's see how much we can explore. And I would like you to work with the technique of body scanning. And basically is bringing that awareness into yourself, and we're going to scan the body. We don't need to scan for anything specific. We're just scanning to see what we notice. You don't need to have words for that. You don't need to have emotions labeled. You don't need to have anything that takes your mind away, but it's really just trying to find a space to notice. Nice deep breathing. Just breathe into your belly, following the breath as far down as you can. Maybe you need to do a few breaths before it goes all the way down to the belly. Nice gentle breathing. Finding the breath, navigating through your body. Drop your shoulders. Rest your head. Rest your legs. Stretch your legs a little bit. Rest your jaw. Really relax your jaw. And allow this feeling to enter your body, this feeling of breath. Allow it to be there. Using your imagination, if you imagine a light from the center of your heart, the center of your chest. And this little bubble of light starts to grow very slowly with each breath in. Every breath in, this light grows a little bit more. Any sensation is really welcomed. I want you to welcome any sensation in your body. Let it pass through. Let it navigate through your body. And this bubble now is really surrounding your body, very close to your skin. You can feel it all around your skin, all around your body. You might notice a color. You might feel a texture to the light. And as you breathe, notice your body from the inside to your skin. This little bubble of light continue to pulsate a light that spread through your body. And every other breath, this light pulsates more light into your skin, traveling from the center of your chest, through your bones, through your muscles, through your organs, and at the skin. And when it pulsates again, this light is illuminating and scanning your body, scanning through all the way to the skin. Feel the pulsation slowly, gentle, soft. You might have memories of any situation in the past you may have, thoughts. Let them come through, let them be there. Now we're going to see if we can sense this light moving through your body as per your request. Use your breath and the light to bring the sensation to the top of your head. Use a few breaths to imagine the light going up to your head, the breath going up to your head. Allow the sensations to be there, and as you breathe, after a few breaths, sensations can ease. Let it be. These are your emotions, your sensations. There's nothing I can bring to you. Well, I'm here giving you support and guidance to let these sensations travel through your body and be released. Be softened. Now imagine this light and the breath. You'd redirect down to your belly. Notice the light traveling downwards and the breath following the light into your belly. Allow yourself to feel there's nothing wrong, there's nothing bad. Sometimes we do hold emotions and sensations that are uncomfortable, but we're here to release. And the way to release is to feel until it dissolves. Follow the breath down to your belly and the light down to your belly. Trust that using your own light, your own energy to clear, to cleanse your body from stress, from stressed energy, heavy energies. We carry energies from old triggers, old moments of anxiety, and we can release, we can let it go. Every breath, bring it to the bottom belly. Stay with yourself, stay with all the noises, all the movement around you. Don't block what's out there. Let it be part of your present moment. Let the thoughts be there. Don't fight with them. Now I want you to redirect the light and the breath to your heart, to the center of your chest. You might feel it go all the way to the back and the spine. Let the breath navigate towards the chest, into the spine of the back. Illuminate the chest, illuminate the spine, up and down. Every breath brings light. Every breath moves the light up and down the spine. Stay with the sensations, trusting that all that is happening is transmutation, alchemizing, clearing, releasing. And illuminate your spine, beautiful spine. Let the breath go in with the light and illuminate up and down. And take deep breaths anytime you feel you need. Just respond to your own body wanting a deep breath or wanting a smaller breath. As you are aware of your breath, you can respond to what your body is asking. Listen to the signals. Maybe you are yawning, sleepy, whatever it is, just be there with it. Now ask the light, where does the light need to go in my body? And then breathe and wait to see where the light goes, or to feel where the light goes. Now it's time to just observe what the light is doing. Before we redirected the light, now we just observe. We're allowing the light to do its job. Let the light go anywhere it wants. It's down to the light now. Nice deep breath in. And very slowly, very gentle, bring the light back to the chest, back to your heart. Nice and slowly, the light retrieves back to the heart into a small little ball in the center of your chest. And as you become aware where you are, the space around you, the walls around you, the noises around you, breathe into your body. Come around nice and slowly. Be your eyes the last thing to open. The last thing. Make sure you're fully aware where you are before you slowly open your eyes. Be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with the light. Take a nice deep breath in.